Welcome back, movie lovers. Today, I'm going to be explaining an action drama movie from 2017 titled The Villainous. Spoilers ahead, watch out, take care. The opening scene kicks off in high gear, with the main character, a highly skilled assassin named Sook-Hee, as she begins to kill multiple men in the hallway with little to no effort. In the next scene, as she reaches a different floor in the building, a large group of men suddenly pour into the hallway from separate rooms. She immediately whips out her blades, and she begins attacking them skillfully, one by one, killing each man brutally, leaving them dead in her path. She then enters an exercise room with more men, and one of them jokingly mocks her, asking her if she came alone. She immediately charges towards the men and continues her killing spree. Amidst the deadly brawl, one of the men who appears to be the leader grabs her by the head and smashes her face into the mirror. Moreover, she jumps on the large man's back and she ties a rope around his neck, strangling the man. Sook-Hee flips off of him, extending the rope, and she immediately leaps through the window and she hangs on the rope, choking the man to death. After this, she jumps down as the police arrive to the scene, and they take Sook-Hee into custody. Next, she awakes in a South Korean intelligence agency, but she's immediately drugged and put under sedation, as gas fumes begin to come through the air vent. And after this, doctors perform plastic surgery on her. In the next scene, as Sook-Hee eats, she suddenly passes out, and she has a flashback where a skilled assassin, named Lee, who trained Sook-Hee to be his personal killing machine, as he time records Sook-Hee and other assassins for a breath-holding exercise. Then Lee tosses in several knives for the assassins to free themselves, and they all do as they emerge from underwater and swim to the dock, except for Sook-Hee, who seems to be drowning. Afraid, Lee immediately dives in the water and cuts her loose, and as Lee frantically yells at her to regain consciousness, Sook-Hee suddenly begins to laugh because apparently, she had been holding her breath the whole time. Next, as she still lays unconscious from being drugged, men wearing gas masks suddenly enters the room, and she attacks the men as one of them tries to restrain her. Sook-Hee manages to escape the room as she frantically runs through the facility. Not long after, Sook-Hee takes a man hostage with a sharp blade, and she forces a woman named Kwon-Sook to help her escape, as she opens a secret passageway that leads to the roof. Next, Kwon-Sook tells her she must quickly jump off the roof to save herself, and deciding to lead the way, she quickly jumps off herself, and Sook-Hee immediately follows behind her, but she gets shot in mid-air as Kwon-Sook quickly pulls out a gun and shoots her. Wow, what a trickster! In the next scene, Kwon-Sook, who actually runs the facility, tells the woman assassin that she's been given a new identity. However, Sook-Hee replies that she doesn't want to live, and she furiously screams at Kwon-Sook to go ahead and just kill her, but she tells her she can't die, as she pulls out a sonogram picture, revealing she's actually pregnant. Kwon-Sook then offers her a proposition, and tells her in order to live a normal life she must give the agency 10 years of her life, to train and work as their assassin. In the next scene, while performing in a play at the assassin facility, Sook-Hee water breaks unexpectedly on stage while performing, and she gives birth to a beautiful baby girl, named Yoon-Hae. Next, while getting a tattoo removed, Sook-Hee has a flashback to when Lee gave her the tattoo as a young girl, and while doing the tattoo, Lee goes on to ask her, who killed her father, to which she replies, the only reason she's still living, is to kill the man responsible for her father's death. The scene then cuts to another flashback, to the day Sook-Hee attempted to kill a man named Jang Chun, who she believes killed her father. But she's unable to kill Jang Chun because she walked straight into an ambush. Jang Chun has his men tie Sook-Hee to a chair. Then he reveals to Sook-Hee that he wasn't the one who killed her father. Then he tells her they were like brothers, so he couldn't bring himself to kill him with his own bare hands. And as Jang Chun goes to smack her, the men are startled as one of the men returns fatally wounded as he drops to the ground. And suddenly Lee appears and he kills the rest of the men. Then him and Jang Chun stand face to face with their weapons drawn. But Lee shoots first, and he kills Jang Chun. Furthermore, Kwon-Sook presents her with her first mission, and she tells her if she succeeds in killing the target, her and her daughter are free to leave the facility. Sook-Hee arrives at the target's house, and the man is sleeping. And as she creeps through the door, the man suddenly swings his sword, knocking Sook-Hee's gun out of her hand. Then as they fight, the man throws Sook-Hee down the stairs, and while she's down, the man goes to finish her off. However, Sook-Hee quickly grabs her knife and she kills him. Then Sook-Hee looks over to see the man's young daughter standing there, as she watched her father die. And this gives Sook-Hee a flashback to the day she witnessed her father being killed by an unknown man, for stealing a diamond. And as the man whistles a eerie tune, he fatally stabs Sook-Hee's father. Then just like the young girl, Sook-Hee watches her father die right in front of her eyes. Jang Chun comes back into the room, and unfortunately he finds Sook-Hee hiding under the bed. With Sook-Hee in the car, Jang Chun argues with a woman, because he's trying to sell Sook-Hee to her. However, they soon come to an agreement, and Jang Chun sells her to the woman. In the following scene, while Sook-Hee is with a strange creepy man, Lee suddenly appears attacking the man, and he kills him. Sook-Hee manages to grab the gun that Lee knocked out of the man's hand, and she shoots the man as he comes through the door. And she saves both of their lives, and on that day, Lee decided to train Sook-Hee to be his personal assassin. Having completed her first mission, Kwon-Sook releases Sook-Hee and her daughter from the facility as promised, but she still must work for the agency even after being released. Then she gives Sook-Hee her new identity, and she drops her off in front of her new home. In the building, a man enters the elevator clumsily dropping all his things, as he startles Sook-Hee. The man's name is Yeonsu, and he's an assassin who works for the same facility as Sook-Hee, who Kwon-Sook placed in the building to keep tabs on her. As time goes by, Yeonsu makes it a top priority to befriend Sook-Hee, making it much easier to watch her for the assassin facility. And after a few run-ins he asks Sook-Hee out. While at dinner, Sook-Hee notices Yeonsu's tie, which gives her a flashback to the day she married the man named Lee, who trained her to be an assassin. In the following scene, a young Sook-Hee places a tie around Lee's neck. The two are married, however Sook-Hee tells Lee that now that they are married, her thirst for revenge and also to kill has gone away, and now she just wants to live a normal life. Lee doesn't like the sound of Sook-Hee not wanting to kill anymore, and feeling as though his personal assassin would no longer be of much use. Unknowingly to Sook-Hee, Lee staged their whole entire wedding, and he even paid people to come. And while on their honeymoon, Lee staged him saving a gang member called Choi Chun-mo, and Lee also fakes his death. As the man explains to Sook-Hee that Lee was killed while trying to save him. Infuriated, Sook-Hee yells at Choi Chun-mo, demanding he tell her who killed Lee. He tells her, and Sook-Hee goes on a killing spree, taking out the gang responsible. And this is the opening scene of Sook-Hee killing Lee's rival gang members in the building. Next, the agency assigns Sook-Hee her next target. The agency wants Sook-Hee to do an assassination on someone who works for a wedding catering company. Then Kwon-Sook calls Sook-Hee, and she tells her to get to the bathroom immediately. In the bathroom, Sook-Hee gets a sniper rifle hidden in the toilet tank. She puts in a communication earpiece. Then she quickly assembles the sniper rifle. Then Sook-Hee stops the fan with the rifle, and she stands post waiting to assassinate her intended target. Suddenly, Sook-Hee spots her target, but he appears to be her dead husband Lee. She shoots his glasses off his face, and with a clear view of his face, Sook-Hee is baffled to see that it's her husband Lee who is still alive. Sook-Hee then aborts the mission, and she lets Lee live as she couldn't bring herself to kill him. Lee then backtracks to the location from which the shots came from. After that, Lee goes to the surveillance room to watch footage from the day of the shooting, and he is shocked when he identifies Sook-Hee as the shooter. Next, Lee tracks down Sook-Hee as he sits in the crowd at her play to watch her perform. After the play, Lee approaches Sook-Hee in a restaurant. He sits down and draws a gun on her from under the table. Sook-Hee tells Lee that her husband will be back soon. Then Lee replies, didn't she love someone more than her current husband? Then Sook-Hee tells him that after losing the love of her life, she chose the stage to forget him. But if he comes back from death and onto the stage, she will kill him in order to live. Sometime later, as Sook-Hee rides in the car with Kwon-Sook and other assassins, suddenly a man on a motorcycle appears, and he crashes into their car. Then as one of the assassins goes to see if the man is okay, he quickly turns around and shoots him. Then Lee arrives in a van, and he quickly rushes to Sook-Hee. Lee then finds Sook-Hee in the car, and she tells him she has to save her daughter, and Lee agrees to help her. In the following scene, Lee takes Sook-Hee to her home to save her daughter, and he hands her a gun. Then Sook-Hee immediately runs to her apartment. And as she reaches her building, suddenly a massive explosion goes off from her apartment, killing Yeonsu and Yoon-hae. Sook-Hee believes the assassin agency is responsible for the death of her daughter and Yeonsu, so she goes to confront Kwon-Sook. However, Kwon-Sook tells her that it wasn't them. Then she shows her surveillance footage from the day Lee's gang got to Yeonsu and Yoon-hae. It is later revealed that Yoon-hae is actually Lee's daughter, as a frightened Yeonsu tries to tell Lee's gang the truth in order to stop all the killing. Then the man gives Yeonsu the phone to talk to Lee, and Yeonsu tells Lee that Sook-Hee was already pregnant when she arrived to the agency, and Yoon-hae is actually his daughter. However, Lee doesn't care, and he tells Yeonsu to kill the girl in exchange for his life. But Yeonsu can't bring himself to kill Sook-Hee's daughter, so he fights a member of Lee's gang. However, he is knocked unconscious, and he is left with a little girl and a bomb. After finding out the truth, an emotional Sook-Hee cries as she drops down to her knees, as she plans to seek revenge on Lee and his gang for killing Yeonsu and her daughter. In the final sequences of the movie, Sook-Hee tracks down Lee and his gang at a parking garage. Sook-Hee then immediately crashes the car into the garage, startling Lee and his gang. Sook-Hee opens fire as she emerges from behind a wall, and she kills the majority of the gang, leaving the rest to flee for their lives. At last, Sook-Hee finds Lee sitting just beyond the kitchen, as the two stand before each other before they fight to the death. Sook-Hee asks Lee if he ever loved her, and Lee tells Sook-Hee he did love her, he just couldn't love her anymore. Then Lee reveals to Sook-Hee that for the crime of killing her father is the reason why he couldn't love her anymore. Infuriated, Sook-Hee attacks Lee, knocking him off his feet. Then she grabs him and breaks through a window. They fall on a car, however Lee's gang quickly comes to help him. And Lee's gang hijacks a bus, and they flee. And they almost run Sook-Hee over, but she quickly moves out of the way. Sook-Hee then steals a man's car, as she drives on top of the hood chasing Lee and his gang. Sook-Hee then leaps off the car and onto the bus, and she kicks her way inside. One by one, Sook-Hee brutally kills Lee's gang. Then Lee and Sook-Hee fight to the death. Then Sook-Hee attacks the man driving the bus, and she grabs the wheel with her axe, and she crashes the bus. Then as Sook-Hee stands over Lee with an axe, he tells her don't be scared, and kill him. And suddenly, Lee starts to whistle the eerie tune he whistled before he killed her father, and this infuriates Sook-Hee and she fatally strikes Lee with the axe in his head. And with the police surrounding Sook-Hee, she smiles a grim smile, and the movie ends here. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.